Aloha mai kako, e komo mai to Curtain Call, a program of reviews, previews, interviews, and features, looking at the great art and artists on Maui and beyond. I'm Adam Lightplay, sitting in again this week for Paul James Brown. And what an honor and joy it is to get to review Cabaret, the show Maui Academy of Performing Arts chose to premiere at their brand new Naylor Theater in Wailuku, built inside the old National Dollar Store. You may have seen it all painted blue near the corner of Main and Market. Such a moving show. I just saw it twice opening weekend. It filled me with joy, tears, and some deep thoughts. 90 years ago, Christopher Isherwood wrote some autobiographical short stories about his experiences visiting Germany pre-World War II. They were adapted into a stage play in the 1950s, and then into a stage musical in the 60s. Of course, it was also a movie in 1972, and has been a successful, timeless live stage show for nearly 60 years now. Of course, I'll be talking about the cast soon, but let's touch on some of the other people that helped bring it to life. Director David Johnston is well respected and famous for bringing so many Broadway-quality productions to the Maui stage. He is well known for including extra time in the rehearsal process for the actors to research or invent their own backstory, to grow into the depths of their character and understanding of who they really are. Of course, all that work translates out onto the stage in more fully fleshed out performances. And you got to have a stage to perform this stuff on, and Johnston is joined by scenic and props designer Jamie Tate to make use of the blank canvas of the Black Box Theater to bring us some beautiful staging, Art Deco sets, creative use of moving platforms. Music director John Rowell leads up another delightful live orchestra. I love the fun of the Spike Jones-like sounds of slide whistles, rim shots, sirens, etc. Other dependable go-tos for beautiful work are co-choreographers Kathleen Schultz and Jackie Dowsett. What can we say about costume designer Melody Korber? All I can really do is show you a tiny bit of the many outstanding costumes that you'll see in this show. Kudos to the inclusive lighting designs of Mark Estrella. First time in that theater, so he must have been starting from scratch. Sound engineer Skylar Green rode herd over at least a dozen wireless microphones, along with everything else. The makeup designer was Riley Franco, and you gotta have a production and stage manager, and that was the ever-dependable Angel Emerson. All of that leads up to the cast. A couple of dozen Mauians that decided to dedicate virtually every spare waking moment that they had in the last 3 months to rehearsing and practicing their parts for this amazing show. Ryan Willis plays the American author Cliff Bradshaw, the eyes that we see all of this through. Definitely a flawed hero. Cliff has the integrity to not participate in empowering Nazi propaganda, but he can also be misogynistic and quite full of himself. Mara Park as Sally Bowles is energetic and delightful as she takes us through one amazing musical number after another, with the voice of an angel. Whatever her star power or magnetism or charisma is, she's got it in spades. She promptly moved herself right into Cliff's apartment and heart. I would have liked to have seen a little more pause, puzzlement, and awe from Willis as one of the original Manic Pixie Dream Girls suddenly lands in his life and his bed. Thalon Nicola is the perfect choice to play the iconic role of the Cabaret MC. Thalon could chew the scenery with the best of them and was delightfully over the top recently as Shakespeare in Something Rotten. The MC in Cabaret is already an over-the-top character, but Thalon plays him just right, joyous, playful, human, and even more sincere as the play develops. And he brings us the Kit Kat Club dancers. And I'm sorry, still photos just can't do them justice. Whatever their age, size, or genders, they are playful, fun, sexy entertainers with great dancing and singing skills. Cabaret is an amazing, intricate, artistic collaboration, even with itself. It's obviously one of the most amazing musical and dance shows ever. But in between the musical numbers, we share in at least 2 heart-wrenching stories of star-crossed lovers and humans doing what they feel they need to do to survive. At first, it's just the small compromises one makes to have a little more money. But then it grows into more serious moral choices. And then having to choose between love and the very real possibility of your means of survival being taken away from you, and maybe even your life. Knocking things out of the park is Elizabeth Fellows as Fraulein Schneider. Fellows has been blossoming on Maui stages the last couple of years, bringing laughter and real tears. She can run so deep and can't help but show you all of her sensitive heart. The play enters a whole new realm the moment she realizes how rapidly the political climate is changing, and that she cannot marry the man she loves because he is Jewish, and it could possibly destroy her ability to survive. She puts it all out there as she sings the song that many people told me was the highlight of the show for them, What Would You Do? She sings it to the optimistic younger couple that has other choices. At the powerful close of the song, maybe I was just imagining it, but I felt the slightest glance from her out to the audience, not even breaking the fourth wall, but asking us all, what would you do? A question way more powerful in today's political climate than even back when it was written. And the singing, oy, what voices! Listening to Park, Willis, Niklaw, Fellows, and Martinez is a pure joy. And let's not forget the contributions of Kaylee Kaeo as Fraulein Kost. She's a hoot as the money-hungry boarder whose every visiting sailor is her brother or nephew. But she also brings her beautiful voice in for a variety of poignant moments. David Joseph Martinez also stands out as Herr Schultz, the Jewish merchant and love interest of Frau Schneider. They both play the sweetest, kindest people trapped in a rapidly worsening situation. Herr Schultz is ever the optimist, even in 1930s Berlin, saying that political parties come and go. Sure, he's a Jew, but first of all, he's a German, so everything will be fine, right? Right? But eventually the Nazis do show up, singing their pristine nationalistic power anthem. It's a touching and heart-wrenching scene as some of the citizens joyously choose to join in on the song, and others you can see joining the song with fear in their eyes about the consequences if they don't. Sound familiar at all? I saw it especially in the eyes of Beth Daigle King, who later winds up being separated out with a pink triangle on her. Paul Jackal, Lou Young, Brian Connolly, and Matt Fennelly all do a spectacular job, as well as the rest of the cast, which I'm afraid is a little too large to mention all individually, sorry. Right now, Cabaret is scheduled to play through the end of November, and it's nearly sold out. There's a good chance they'll be adding another weekend or two, so keep an ear out for dates in December. One tip, I would recommend the seats that are not bar stools, unless you're quite young and healthy and flexible. That's my tip. Well, that's Curtain Call for this week. Mahalo nui loa for tuning in. I'm Adam Lightplay. Paul James Brown will be back next week. Maui strong and a hui ho.